Good day, I am Karina De Leon and I'm going to report about the 21st century tools in assessment. So nowadays, we are living in a knowledge-based society and our current assessment requires upgrading to ensure that learners are prepared for a rapidly changing environment and ever-connected community, society, and world. So this report will give you a background in the assessment tools that we are using in this 21st century. 21st century tools in assessment. What is 21st century? 21st century is the current century of the Anno Domini era or Common Era. It began on January 1, 2001 and ends on December 31, 2100. This is the first century of the third millennium. Definition of assessment. According to AFT NCME NEA of 1990, assessment is defined as a process of obtaining information that is used to make educational decisions about students, to give feedback to students about his or her progress, strengths, and weaknesses, to judge instructional effectiveness and curricular adequacy, and to inform policy. British Columbia Ministry of Education said, educational assessment is the process of gathering evidence of what a student knows, understands, is able to do, and is working towards. What is 21st century learning skills? Necessary in a knowledge-based society such as information and communication skills. This includes information processing and research tools, media literacy, ICT literacy. Thinking and problem-solving skills. This includes using technological tools such as spreadsheets to solve problems and think creatively. The next one is the interpersonal and self-directional skills, such as e-learning and collaboration, flexibility and adaptability, initiative and self-direction, social and cross-cultural skills, productivity and accountability, leadership and responsibility, life and career skills. Current assessment tools. Observation, student self-assessments, daily practice assignments, quizzes, samples of student work, holistic rating scales, project, oral and written report, reviews of performance and portfolios. Evaluation is based on the criteria which is based on the learning outcomes. 21st century skills, objectives of an ideal form of assessment. Number 1. Measure learners' knowledge, application, and learning of 21st century skills and identify where intervention is required. Number 2. Be applicable across a wide range of instructional programs. Number 3. Allow learners to demonstrate their proficiency in 21st century skills to educational institutions and prospective employers. Assessment for, as, and of learning. Assessment for learning. These are the examples of the 21st century assessment for learning tools. E-portfolios, teacher observations, class discussions, think, pair, share, journals, observation checklists, concept maps, and rubrics. Assessment as learning. Examples of 21st century assessment. Learning tools include self-assessments, peer assessments, student-teacher conferences, teacher observations with feedback, and interim product analysis. Assessment of learning. Examples of 21st century assessment of learning tools are e-portfolios with best piece samples to show progress, open-ended response questions, historical role-playing, arguments about the impact of decisions on current long-term projects, and problem-based reports. 21st century assessment fundamentals. Assessment should be responsive. Assessment should be flexible. Assessment should be integrated. Assessment should be informative. Assessment should be using multiple methods. Assessment should be communicated. Assessment should be technically sound. Hi, I included here in my report a video for more information about the 21st century assessment tools. These are all the references that I use in making this presentation. Hope you can visit the websites. That's all. Thank you so much. I hope you learned a lot.
Assessment tools in the 21st century classroom. Before we can talk about the tools, it is important to look at assessment itself. In order to determine how well students are achieving curriculum expectations and support student success, we gather information before, during, and after learning to improve student achievement and develop independent learners. There are 3 types of assessment. Assessment of learning is summative and the traditional form of assessment that is most familiar to teachers. This type of assessment is often done at the end of a unit in the format of a test or a project and is meant to be a measure of the student's learning throughout the unit. This assessment is used more for accountability, but it is not the most useful tool for the learner. Assessment for learning is used as a diagnostic tool to provide teachers with a direction for the learning, knowing where the students are and how to move them forward. Assessment as learning is formative. This type of assessment should be administered more frequently, as it enables the teacher to modify their lessons to support student needs. It enables students to set goals and reflect on their thinking, identifying areas of strength and needs, allowing them to become more engaged in the process of assessment and take ownership of their learning. It also develops metacognitive skills. These skills do not come naturally, and students need explicit teaching and modeling using the gradual release of responsibility. Good educators should be using all forms of assessment as we guide students through the learning process, and each assessment has a role to play, allowing for a complete view of the student. Ultimately, the goal is to ensure the assessment is meaningful to support well-designed lesson planning. Keeping that in mind, we need to ensure that all students' needs are met and ensure that assessment is both consistent and valid, as well as fair to all students. In the 21st century, students need to be critical thinkers, creative, and work collaboratively. They will be lifelong learners more than ever before, given the constant change in technology and the probability of changing career paths. Therefore, if we are asking students to develop new skills, we need to change how we assess them as well. Technology can assist us in providing authentic cross-curricular assessment. For example, the development of a multimedia assignment provides the opportunity to assess in a student-centered learning environment. Multimedia projects promote collaboration, research, design, and presentation. Assessment can be obtained for individual reflection, self-assessment, content, oral communication, and presentation, as well as the expertise of the tool used to develop the product. The following are just some of the tools that can be used by students and teachers throughout the evaluation process as a means to support the 3 types of assessment educators should be conducting. Google has a variety of tools that can be used for assessment for, as, and of learning. Google Forms can be used to create surveys or quizzes to see what students know about a particular subject and whether or not they have grasped concepts during a unit. Google Docs can be used to create a shared document that students add to as an online KWL chart. Docs are also an excellent tool for providing descriptive feedback to students within a document, as well as being a collaborative tool for student groups to create and share. Google also provides the tools for students to create presentations and spreadsheets either individually or collaboratively with their classmates. Kurzweil is an assistive technology tool that can also be used for all types of assessment. It can be used to test comprehension, for test taking, writing, and study skills. The possibilities for summative assessment are endless. Students can create digital assignments using tools such as iMovie, Prezi for presentations, Glogster for infographics, stop-motion videos using software such as StopMotion and Audacity for podcasts. Google Sites, Evernote, 3Ring, and KidBlog are all free tools that can be used for student portfolios. Wikis are interactive and encourage collaboration, discussion, student involvement, and can be used for reflection. PBWorks, Basic Edition, Wikispaces, Google Sites, and WebPage are all hosts for wikis. Games such as Kahoot provide a fun and engaging way for student review of upcoming tests in any subject matter. Edmodo is an online learning network that can be used to connect students with each other, with the teacher, and with other communities. Students can take quizzes online, answer online polls, blog, and post assignments. Web 2.0 tools have made it very easy and accessible for students to use technology in all aspects of the classroom. When designing assessment using digital means, however, we must keep in mind that technology is just a tool, and assessment and assignments should center around the content and not the technology. Thank you.
So that's it for the 21st century tools in assessment. I hope you learned something new today. God bless everyone.